the typical answer is, well, we do fireworks.
Well, let's go with the first thing, 2 words, more bridge. Okay, that's where we're standing right now, and you know, it's one of the things that makes this show so unique. A lot of places in the country have barge shows, and obviously some are smaller than this, and there's a lot of shells on those barges. But to have 1,800 feet times 2 sides, 3,600 feet of stage to do the low-level show, that is very rare, and it's something that as designers we have to take advantage of, and we want to take advantage of.
Well, what we look at first and foremost is the soundtrack. You know, all the shows that we tend to do come from the soundtrack. So we hear the music, we hear the beats, and something that tends to happen with us is we stop hearing the music and we start seeing it. So once we start seeing the music, we see the scenes that we want to do, the different effects that we think would fit in, and then we look at the venue. And a venue like this where you have a bridge, you can play for as long as you want.
A very large show would be 1 set of barges here and maybe 1 side of bridge. Now Thunder has double everything, so that makes it 2 jumbos all in one. And you know, we're covering a lot of area here between, you know, from the tip of the east or west barge to the tip of the east barge is a far distance. And then of course you've got over you know, well over 1/2 to 2/3 of a mile of bridge here. In terms of sheer numbers, 8,000 cues to execute this thing in about 29.5 minutes.
As far as venues, this is one of the best venues. You know, where else do you get almost a mile-long bridge that you get to play with and do runs and fans and sweeps? Something, you know, anytime that we get to expand on frontages, that's where we like to play, is frontages. You can hit the cues, you can surprise people, and then the shells just complement everything else.
There's 45 positions on each side of this bridge, which means there's 90 locations of fireworks on this bridge. What we did is we brought up a 53-foot semi at 10 o'clock this morning, and we've got about 2/3 of it out so far. Some of the best are here. There's no question about that, because the show's the best of the best. So we match it up. We run through this show in our heads and in our tests on our computers dozens of times before we ever get to fire it. You know, so the only difference is we actually let it give the launch commands come 9:30. Rarely do we design a show from front to back. You know, it's usually oh, wait a minute, this song, it needs to have the green shooting cracker scene. We need, so we put it in there. You know, we control every bit of this show. You know, in the digital world now, we can do whatever we want, wherever we want, however we want. And that makes for some magic, especially when you have a platform this big. Because really, when it's all said and done, and once this thing starts to roll, we're fans. You know, we're audience. You know, sure, we're manning radios and things like that if a location has a problem and we have to be ready to intervene. But at that point, we're the same as mom, dad, and the kids down on that riverbank. We're enjoying it just like everybody else.
I'll probably never be a rock star, but on nights like Thunder, when you have thousands of people cheering at something that you were able to create, that's probably the closest I'll ever get to that. And seeing that and hearing that just makes you go to the next show and the next show and the next show.
Ever wonder how celebrity stars light up the night? Or who puts the bang in your favorite flicks? Who makes the fire work to make the skies light up for our favorite holidays and pack our favorite blockbusters? Get ready for the world's best fireworks. You've seen skies ablaze with incredible fireworks at the Olympics, Super Bowl, and 4th of July, and even marveled at explosions in your favorite movies. Now it's time to meet the Sousa family, responsible for some of the world's most exhilarating fireworks displays, all in Living Large Hollywood Pyro Spectaculars by Sousa. What started as a small family tradition in Portugal is now one of the world's premier pyrotechnics companies. Between TV shows, movies, or music videos, if you've seen a fireworks display, chances are it's one of theirs.
Pyro Spectaculars by Sousa, we call ourselves the world's largest firework production company. We're not just shooting fireworks off on the 4th of July. In fact, that's just a portion of our business. We've done so many wonderful events all over the world featuring our fireworks. Our family's been in business now, and the story goes back 5 generations, almost over 100 years. It really started in the small Portuguese community in the in the East Bay in San Francisco, and just catering to the needs of the Portuguese community and their tradition. From there, went into county fairs, small 4th of July events, and then from there, our business just went crazy, doing shows for sporting events, for motion pictures. The 4th of July got bigger during the bicentennial. And I look back at the shows that I've done, and some fantastic ones, dating back to the first ever Chinese New Year's extravaganza in Hong Kong. And San Francisco for the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge, where we had the entire bridge to work on. For the first time, they allowed us to get on the bridge and fire fireworks on the roadway and underneath, and creating 2 beautiful waterfalls to cascade off the 4,200 span of the Golden Gate Bridge. A lot of rock and roll tours, motion picture, worked with a lot of celebrities, done a lot of wonderful things. And now we're a world-class company doing shows from Singapore all the way to Africa, literally all over the world. You've seen the Sousa Fireworks Show. Still, one of the most exciting things is I get to design shows. So the customers and the clients will give me a call. I get to work with them, talk about their needs, what type of event they have, where is the location, what are their expectations, and how can I give them the wow factor? What can I do to give them something really special? So then I'll work with them on their theme, select the music, find something that's really special to them, then come to my design program that I have here that I use, and then I choreograph it. And I can choreograph the show exactly to the beat of the music. I have the inventory. I don't have to go to the bunkers. I have it right here in my fingertips. I can drag and drop, put it in right to the beat of the music that I want, push the button, done, voila, send it out, let my boys do all the hard work after that. It's really important that we have a perfect show. In order to have the Sousa signature on it, it's got to be the best. In order to be the best, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes, including a lot of testing. Testing at the factories that we travel to China, into Europe, and pre-testing everything. Then we'll bring them here into the United States, go out to our desert, test them again. It's so important that we know the exact timing, not only how long it takes to get from the launch to the burst, but how long is the duration of it, so that our shows are balanced and this looks like a motion picture in the sky. It looks like it has energy and feeling and emotion. And the only way to get that is through the testing and the safety programs that we have. People always think that fireworks are skyrockets and they got fins on them and then stick and you shoot them up out of a bottle like a bottle rocket. That's really not true. This is what they really look like. They come in round canisters. They can be as small as an orange or an apple and large as a basketball. And this is how they come. But if we were to open them up and see what they look like, most of the fireworks are going to burst in what we call a floral pattern, like chrysanthemums, peonies, or dahlias. Or we can get even fancier patterns, such as creating the planets. Here's a Saturn, for example. But one of the favorites of all the spectators is what we call the happy face. The way this is made, and this is again, it's just cut in half here, but these are called stars, and they're chemical compositions that are rolled into the various colors that we can create. Then they're hand placed inside this canister, and inside here is a bursting charge. And so when this thing goes up in the sky, and it gets up to 600 or 800 feet, it'll open up and burst into a beautiful happy face. So this really represents a typical fireworks show and the different types of varieties going in the sky 600 to 800 feet. But boy, if you really want to kick it up a notch, you got to come over here to the big guy. This is the 24-inch shell. This is a replica of the shell that we fired at the Salt Lake City Olympics in 2002, and we fired 8 of these. Each one of these will go 2,000 feet in the sky, burst about 6 city blocks. We connected them together and fired them all at the same time, called them the Golden Mile because it spread across the sky in the Cascades a mile. This is my personal favorite.
Kearns, the Director of Operations.
And I'm Matt Peterson, the Creative Director.
We're a fourth generation company that started with around the turn of the 20th century. The owner's great-grandfather moved to Melrose Park, Illinois from Italy. In Italy, he had a display company. He also manufactured fireworks. Because they were in Melrose Park, the name of the company became Melrose Fireworks Company, and it is now called Melrose Pyrotechnics. Our company really got its footing and its foundation through the Chicago White Sox. In 1960, Mike's dad developed an exploding scoreboard where fireworks were shot right out of the scoreboard for the White Sox, and that tradition continues today. That is the customer that is responsible for us becoming a pyromusical display company. Back in the 80s, they had approached Mike and asked him if he could shoot a show to music. That was the start of the pyromusical displays. So once again, through the sports and through the White Sox, it's evolved to what today we travel internationally. We represent our country in many competitions. Our display case here shows all the trophies that we've won throughout the world for pyromusical productions and displays.
Essentially my job, though, as Creative Director, is I get to make all the magic happen. So all the fireworks that we buy and we import, myself and our creative staff, we get to make all the magic in the sky that everyone sees. So from inception, we bring fireworks in, we develop a soundtrack. The soundtrack is the starting point for a great show. It draws different emotions out of people. And so we start with a soundtrack. Once the soundtrack is created, the client signs off on it. The creative staff gets to then dive into it. So we get to use any of the products in our inventory that will fit on the particular site. And it's up to the designer then what he sees and what he wants to create in the sky. So he's like painting in the sky. And so we use our specialized software to then place these fireworks into the computer. And then we have a specialized computer then that will create what that designer has envisioned. We know exactly where we want it and we place a cue where we want it, but the computer knows how far in advance to fire that particular product based on all the testing criteria that we've done the testing on. For me, it's just a passion, and we are an entertainment company. Most people think, well, we're just a fireworks company. No, we really are an entertainment company. It's an amazing thing to make people happy with what we do.
For that one moment where there's a fireworks display, it seems like there's unity. Everyone is happy, they're smiling. Children like it, adults like it. It's patriotic. Fireworks have been used to celebrate our independence for so many years that now it's a step further. They're used for so many different things. TV commercials, sporting events, as we've spoke about it. But what makes us what we are is our team. We are definitely we couldn't do anything without the entire staff. It's definitely a team effort. We always have regulatory issues and insurance issues. That's one of the bonuses we have in working with a firm like Britton Gallagher is risk managers and attorneys are so involved in this industry and regulatory problems that they can bring to us and give us advice. We do so many pyromusical displays that the amount of investment the company has made into the tools, the computers to fire the shows, the firing panels, there's a large amount of money spent to keep the company going, and without the proper coverages, if anything would ever happen, we would not be able to continue. Britton Gallagher has a whole staff, pyrotechnics division, and so no matter what our needs are, or if one of the individuals aren't in the office, there's always someone that can take care of our needs. Every year all the paperwork has to be put in our trucking paperwork to keep us legal on the road for transportation. And there's a whole division of Britton Gallagher that provides us all the necessary forms and things we need to keep us legal. I kind of feel that what helps make us successful as a business is when a customer signs our contract, they don't have to think about anything anymore. We take care of all the details. They can sign a contract, forget about it. We'll show up, we'll put on the display, we'll exceed their expectations. Britton Gallagher does the same.
Thank you very much for asking me to come and talk about my favorite hobby. So I'm going to start then with rockets. I'm jumping slightly back. We've got what we call a fritter. You notice the height of the flame. Not much gunpowder in there. Are you ready? Let's move it a bit that way. I'm not going to hold my hand in it, but you can see it's not particularly hot. Not a word to the health and safety. Ex luce lucellum, which I translate as out of light, a little profit. Thank you very much.
The earliest that I can remember recalling anything related to a fireworks display when I was about 5 years old. I would go with my grandfather on the boardwalk and watch the fireworks show unfold and watch the audience react to that, everybody coming up to him afterwards like a rock star. And that was the first time that I really felt the addictive nature of this business and what I really wanted to do for a living. So the history of the family dates back as early as 1850 with my second great-grandfather, Angelo, started the business. At that time it really wasn't a business, it was a small entity of the way that they made money. He was also a produce distributor in Bari, Italy. He and his son, Anthony, immigrated here to the United States, came through Ellis Island like many other immigrants did in the early 1900s, and set their factory up on Long Island. So rolling the clock forward, I'm the current CEO now. It's a great responsibility to have the heritage of our family sitting on your shoulders, but it's also a great honor. It gives you a lot of energy and a lot of passion to do the right thing. But it's nice to have that family element within our business. We're sitting here now in the setting of the Hagley Museum and Library, which is the initial manufacturing facility for the DuPont family to make black powder. Today was the first time I really had the time to walk through the museum in a very methodical way, and I walk away with a somewhat of a small parallel between our family and to the DuPont family. We have a big family beyond the last name Grucci. 400 part-time pyrotechnicians, and our business still is driven mainly by people power. It's always a great pleasure to go to one of their houses, and when you go into their main room where people are going to be, they always have a picture of a fireworks show, and the one that they've done, they take the most pride, or they have a wall. Sometimes they have walls with better pictures than we have in our studio on the wall, because they're very proud of what they do. The hours and hours you put into just designing a show, every minute of fireworks you see in the sky takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So the reward, because you put so much into it, so much emphasis, it's unequaled. When you know that you're going to push the button and they're going to go, oh. What's beautiful about that moment and the moment of a 20-minute fireworks performance is there's no cell phones, no one's texting each other. Maybe they're taking pictures of it and video of it, but they're not looking down, they're not doing what we are now so bugged by. And it's so rewarding to be able to see that. And you know, that emotion and that satisfaction at the end when they start to clap, it makes you get up the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and not punch a clock and know you're gonna work till 11 or 12 o'clock at night the next day. And that's how, you know, that's how we've been successful.
This is the first biography of Frank Brock, which melds in 300 years of his family firework enterprise history before he comes along. Frank Brock was my grandfather, and I wanted people to understand what an extraordinary man he was. He fought, he was a spy, he was an intelligence officer, he was an inventor, he was an officer in the Royal Naval Air Service, he was a combatant. In the First World War, he was particularly noted for his invention of the explosive bullet, which destroyed the Zeppelins, and he produced the first naval smokescreen, which did not give away its position by flame at night. There's a terrific amount of history involved in Brock's. Long before the modern understanding of the word brand, Brock's was, in effect, one of the largest brands in the world. They changed the way that firework displays were shown. I was the last Brock to work in Brock's, and I carry with me a huge amount of information on their development over the centuries. And I feel that at some point I shall shuffle off and no one else will be there to tell this story. It's a hidden history.